Hello and welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. This is True Crime in the Morning. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos. My friends call me Sleuth. Today we are looking into a missing persons case out of Fountain Hill, Arkansas, of Bradley Wayne Allen. We will get going here in just a few minutes. Another strange case, missing without a trace, without a note, without any evidence. Now, a lot of strange circumstances and facts surrounding the case. Rumors of drug use, rumors of altercations, you know. And we know here on the Sleuth Intuition channel, nobody is a throwaway. We know that criminals target certain people who are struggling. That even goes for predators when they target children. You know, do they come from a broken home? Um, are their parents paying a whole lot of attention to them? You know, there's certain reasons that people target folks. And when you go through life, you have ups and then you have downs. So, God forbid somebody targets you when you're in one of those low moments, right? Or a family member. And I hate to say it, but law enforcement, when they're investigating cases like this where the victim may be a drug user or addicted to some kind of drug or struggling with mental health or possibly had made some poor decisions in the past, right? I just feel like investigators can't help but say, well, they were asking for it, or they should have seen this coming, or we're not going to pay that much attention to this case because of who the victim is, right? We know that's why serial killers target sex workers. There's over 500 unsolved serial murders, all of sex workers believed to be perpetrated by truck drivers. I mean, the FBI has reported they got handfuls of suspects, just not enough evidence to convict. So when you combine all of these things, mental health, drug addiction, and then a world just filled with predators, I mean, that might be the trifecta right there. People just don't go missing. You know, people take them, they get lost, they get hurt, they end up in a place that's not very visible, having succumbed to the elements, but they don't just vanish, right? We say that every episode, something happened. I mean, I've made my fair share of stupid decisions. God forbid something would have happened to me during that time, you know? I wonder what people would have said about me. Oh, he was a troublemaker. He always runs off. Good to see you, Jill, Beth, Boston, Cindy, Brad from outside the grid, Hather's Mirror, Cindy Lean, Camaro Lover. Welcome in, everybody. Sensei, good to see you. Big Bird 420. Hey, what's up, Anthony? Good to see you, my friend. You got MLK Day off. I usually don't see you in the morning shows. And I know you don't work from home. Welcome on in. So let's get a good look here at Brad before we jump into his story. Now, they don't know what happened to Brad. He could still be somewhere right now. I think it was his father-in-law, maybe. The person he was staying with stated he's probably just hiding out from the cops. But that gentleman may be suffering from dementia, so I don't know what's going on with that situation. So now Brad was struggling with drugs, and he had a few convictions on that. So that may play a part in why he went missing or who may have targeted him. But everybody around him in his life said he was a great person. We hear stories of his boss firing him, rehiring him, firing him, hiring him, and then also being a huge part of the search. You know, just obvious that he cared for him, right? And we all have people like that in our lives. They're great people. They're not afraid to hang out with the wrong folks and make poor decisions, and they're not going to hear it from us, right? They're going to make their own mistakes. Well, God forbid you go down that path and you end up missing. I mean, law enforcement's not really searching for him. I called them this morning. They don't even know the case. They're all off for MLK Day. I mean, I understand everybody needs a day off, but I don't think predators and I don't think mental health issues are taking the vacation days, right? Welcome in, Wanda. Good to see you, Charlotte, Olivia, Snowed in and Stone. Thank you, Sleuth. Yeah, a lot of people are getting hit with some pretty bad weather. We're going to try to get Brad's sister, Angie, on the phone. We've been corresponding via email, and hopefully she can kind of clear up a lot of this information for us. That way, we can present a clear picture of what might have happened to Brad. Now, I found a really great article that NBC put out. I pre-recorded it, so we're going to sit back. We'll listen to that. We'll watch a couple media clips, and then we're going to go. I have 3 pages of notes for Brad. There is a whole lot to go over. We're going to talk about the phone pinging. It looks like he had a prepaid phone. We'll touch on his live-in girlfriend, Megan, who he had a child with. So there's a lot to go over. And then we're going to go ahead and have Brad from Outside of the Grid podcast. So he's been covering this case. He's local to Arkansas, and he has a great podcast called Outside of the Grid. And he's the one that presented this case to me and recommended it for True Crime in the Morning. And it's another case very similar to the ones that we've been covering. Folks, they just go missing without a trace with questionable circumstances. With Brad here, there was an altercation with his live-in girlfriend, Megan. Apparently, tracking dogs tracked him to a trailer about 3 miles away. That trailer was eventually searched and the person questioned. His phone pinged, I believe, 5 miles from where he went missing, not anywhere near that trailer. So if somebody was hurting him, they could have been taking him somewhere, or he could have been en route to go somewhere. According to his mother, he left. Let me see what he was wearing. He was wearing shorts, tennis shoes, and a T-shirt and a ball cap. And according to his mother, during an interview, he was also had a large amount of narcotics with him. So was this a drug deal gone bad? Was he getting robbed? What was he fighting with Megan about? So these are some of the questions that we're going to hopefully get cleared up with Angie. But if we can't get a hold of her, like I said, they're dealing with some really bad weather. So I'll see if I got an email back from her. No, but she's probably expecting a phone call. I told her around 9:30 my time. Good morning, Sparky. How are you doing, Beth? What's up, Jamie? Good morning. Yeah, people are getting some really bad weather. I believe over there in Arkansas, they're getting snowed out pretty bad. So here's a good shot of his tattoo. I mean, you could recognize that anywhere. Looks like you have a spider web on the elbow, a tribal, looks like a scorpion maybe, and then some unfinished work around that. So, I mean, they don't know if he's living. They don't know if he's hurt. They don't know if he fell into some kind of crevice in the woods. Was he murdered and dumped? Is he hiding out, trying to avoid law enforcement? I don't know if he was facing any charges or anything like that. That's just something that I heard while going over the facts. Think that's his father and his mother there. So it's my understanding he was fighting with his mom and his dad at the time. He was getting into all kinds of trouble. GP, good to see you. Hopefully, you guys have a good doctor visit. Good to see you. Brown Skittle, how are you? Hey, what's going on, Jason? Jamie says, right on. I'm subbed to outside of the grid. Yeah, you're lost if you're not. Jason says, no snow in NYC, but upstate got hammered. Yeah, I guess they got it really bad in Indiana and Arkansas. I'm sure, and everything in between, right? So you're feeling it right now. You're definitely snowed in. Here's a good one with him without hair. So if he was wearing a baseball cap, I'm assuming he was looked something like this on that day. That one looks like a mugshot. Here's another angle on, looks like his right arm. So you got a tribal. And then I think that's another tribal down here. Brad says this dude lives in a huge pine forest, millions of acres. Actually, but they also live near the Delta and the Bayou Bartholomew. Was he in the forces? I'm not sure. In the armed forces? I don't think so. That I do not know. Let's see. So he was 37 years old at the time, and I believe he would be 44 today. Born November 17th, 1979. So if so, it is possible. Because, I mean, it says here he was married to a Tiffany Crane as well in 2013, and his mother didn't even know about it. She was asked in an interview about prior relationships, and Tiffany Allen, aka Tiffany Crane, wasn't mentioned. So that was an old relationship that she didn't seem to know about. So I don't know if he ran off and went with her, if he was still communicating with her. Just something I thought I would throw out there. Brad says they lived out in what is called the prairie. Lots of meth labs and such out in that area. Honestly, law enforcement stays out of there. Yeah, there wasn't much of an effort to find Brad. And with his past convictions, I just feel like I feel like law enforcement wasn't going to make the effort, right? Deemed a throwaway. Not to compare Brad to sex workers or anything, but I think they look at them the same way. And a lot of times they become targets because nobody's going to really go looking. So maybe he was dealing with somebody who was already a killer and thought to himself, well, nobody's going to come looking for this person. And another thing I wanted to ask about was apparently he was going to be receiving a direct deposit from his work. So I don't know if anybody accessed that money, those funds. But when you got drugs and drug addicts, and you know there's a big pile of money coming, man, they start to act really funny, especially if they're going experiencing psychosis. Unfortunately, a lot of the homicides that happen even in the inner city, that's what happens. They get drugged out. They've been up for 2 to 3 days. Next thing they know, they've killed their friend or robbed somebody and taken their vehicle. So if he's running around with a big bag of dope and money in his account, I mean, he could have been a target for sure. Maybe even to somebody that was close to him. Sparky says another strange case. Where did the dogs track him to? The woods or down a road? Honestly, I'm not sure. And let me tell you why. If we go to the sheriff's Facebook post about the case, this is what we get. Missing on July 22nd, 2017, the Ashley County Sheriff's Office was called by the family of Brad Wayne Allen to report that he was missing. The family confirmed that Allen left walking Tuesday, July 18th, 2017, around 3 a.m. in an unknown direction. So I don't know if he walked out of the house and that's when he was last seen. That's why they really don't know which direction he went into or which direction he went. So that's what the sheriff's office said. Let's go to some of these media clips. They seem to have an idea of where he went. They claim he went up or down a specific road. And this is how they made it seem to me. Let's take a look at one of the maps I put together. So he was staying here. And the last person to see him was Megan Cody, mother of his child, his son, and his live-in girlfriend. But the way this media clip we're about to play, it makes it seem as if he went out the home and down this road here. But I'm not sure. Hopefully we can clear that up. So this huge lot right here is for his family owns this. I think his mother and father were living here. Maybe even his cousins or other family members were living right in this area as well. Now, at some point, Brad was living back here or back here somewhere. And he was having folks coming and going constantly. Even had two rough type guys that were hanging around a lot. And this was shortly before he went missing. So with all of this activity, his parents that lived here, and I'm not sure if he's back here or back here, but they paid him a visit and said, "Hey, look, man, we see all this traffic. We see what you're doing back here, and we see these knuckleheads that you're with. You know, you're going to get the boot." Well, apparently they didn't listen. They weren't leaving. So they didn't really give the folks a choice. Like, okay, man, in order for me to evict you, I'm going to have to call the cops on you. So that's what happened. Called the police. He was evicted. And I'm not sure if he was back here or back here, but he was kicked out of there and moved in right here. Now, the owner of this home, according to the mother, was suffering from like slight dementia at the time. So I don't know if they were taking advantage of him or if this was just that kind of a family. It's the details that matter, and I don't know. But apparently there was no objection from the person who was living here, and they began staying there. Now, the person also stated that he thought that he was hiding out from police. But once again, I know a lot about dementia because my grandmother suffers from it. I know what that's like. But it didn't seem like they were taking advantage of these folks because the Monday prior to his disappearance, and I believe that's the 17th, and then he went missing early morning of the 18th. There's a little bit of confusion about that. But apparently on the 17th, he was out. Him and another family member were out clearing up all of the debris here. The weeds, they had the weed whacker out. So, I mean, if you're taking advantage of somebody, you're not going to be doing their yard work. You know, that's something you do because, you know, they're suffering and you're helping. So, apparently his brother-in-law saw him Monday doing the yard work. So he was busy. Megan is the only witness who saw him go missing or was there to see him leave. But let's go to some of these media clips. Hopefully this will fill in some of the holes, and then we're going to go to an article that I have pre-recorded for you guys. Let's go here first.
Tasha Williams.
Can you guys hear that?
In Ashley County, Arkansas, now has been missing for 6 months. His family begging anybody to help find him.
NBC Night Team's Randall Newsom is the only reporter in the Twin Cities to talk to Brad Allen's family about the disappearance. He joins us with more on that family's pain and their loss. Randall?
Natasha Gordon, it's hard to imagine. One day your loved one is here, the next he's gone. No phone calls, text messages, no contact whatsoever in more than 180 days.
Thanks, Jason.
Hope. It's all this family has to hang on to, hoping their son, their brother, their uncle, 38-year-old Brad Allen, will come home. But as the days go by, another feeling is sinking in.
Hurt.
And after 6 months, the journey to find him is only getting harder. The family says after Brad and his girlfriend had an argument, he walked out of this home and down this road at 3 a.m. where they say.
Okay. Now notice the sign, the street sign reflecting off of the camera light. It's 384-A. And that's the road I showed you. So I don't understand how this guy has more information than the sheriff's office. Or maybe he just happened to take the time to go actually talk. He's obviously at the home and he's talking with family members. That's really how you're going to get the information, the people who are closest.
He just vanished.
I'm still going on the fact that he's alive.
So far, everything's went to a dead end.
It's been so long. I don't see it happening. People don't just vanish.
That's Angie there.
For them, the toughest part is wondering.
Not knowing. The not knowing where he is.
If we knew dead or alive, we could go through it, get through it, and go on.
Gone without a trace, with no leads for police.
Well, I've been a police officer for 32 years, and it doesn't happen very often.
I tried to call Tommy Sturgeon today. He's off for MLK.
And unfortunately, this is one of the worst ones because we're not getting any information.
Now they hope someone, somewhere, can help them find Brad so they can have the closure they desperately need.
Go to bed at night thinking about him. Wake up in the morning thinking about him.
And if Brad is out there, there's a message to him from his family.
We love him. He knows we do. Just come home if he's out there.
I love him. Always have, always will.
Tasha Williams.
A man in Ashley County, Arkansas now has been missing for 6 months.
I think I have one more. Hold on. Let's take a look at the search.
Are you going walking in the woods? Yeah, I got my boots in the truck. And I got
Let me see. Where did I get this before I play it? I think I got this off of YouTube. Search for missing Ashley County, Arkansas man, Brad Allen. Oh, this is by South Ark Weather YouTube channel. So let's take a look here. So apparently in Arkansas, you cannot report somebody missing until I think after 72 hours or something like that. So they couldn't really report him missing. They just did their own search. I think this is right around the time when they finally were able to report him as a missing person officially.
You going walking in the woods? Yeah, I got my boots in the truck. And a golf club. I didn't have a stick, so I brought a golf club. Uncle Wayne made him this one. Look at all these things.
So the title of that was Search for Missing Ashley County Ark Man Brad Allen. And the YouTube channel was South Ark Weather for South Arkansas Weather. And that's on YouTube.
To share and live on the family land. Brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts, and uncles, all living amongst each other as neighbors. In 2018, one Ashley County, Arkansas family never imagined that one day their loved one would suddenly disappear, to never be seen or heard from again. It was reported Bradley Allen left his home on foot around 3 a.m. July 17, 2018, in an attempt to cool down after an argument between him and his girlfriend. That home was seated on a 20-acre plot in Fountain Hill, Arkansas, shared by his family.
It's been so long. I don't see it happening. People don't just vanish.
For them, the hardest part is wondering.
Not knowing.
100%.
Not knowing where he is.
If we knew dead or alive, we could go through it, get through it, and go on.
After searches, interviews, and reviewing Brad's phone records, police still had no leads.
Well, I've been a police officer for 32 years, and it doesn't happen very often.
4 years later, the family is still looking for answers.
Go to bed at night thinking about him. Wake up in the morning thinking about him.
Holding on to hope, here's a message to Brad from his family.
We love him. He knows we do. Just come home if it's out there.
And I love him. Always have, always will.
Anyone with information on this case is asked to call the Ashley County Sheriff's Office at 870-853-8600.
So we'll leave that number up there for a little while. So I think what we're going to do next is we'll play that pre-recorded article that I read. It's from NBC, and we'll look at the map of the location, and then we'll try to give Angie a call. So bear with me a moment. I'll play the call. Let me know if you guys can hear this. I'll play the call while I'm pulling up these maps here. I tried to call and get a hold of, what the hell is his name? Tommy Sturgeon. But he was off today. We'll just play that real quick.
Sheriff's Office.
Can you guys hear that? Yes, I'm trying to reach Tommy Sturgeon.
He won't be in today. I can take a message.
Is there anybody I can speak to get information on a missing persons case? We're getting ready to do a story on one of your missing people out there, Bradley Allen. Do you know if anybody can help me with information for the public that's available to the public?
Well, it'll have to be tomorrow because unfortunately I'm the only one here today because the office is closed due to Dr. MLK Day today.
Yeah, I understand. Like I didn't know.
But I can leave a message for one of the investigators if you would like. Or you
We don't do police work on holidays. Sorry. Sure. Do you know anything? Is there anything you can share with me about the case?
I'm unfamiliar with the case. I don't have that much information.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Bye. Crazy. That always bothers me when they're like, I've never even heard of that. I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, what, dude? Hopefully you guys could hear that call. Olivia's asking, did he have any known This article enemies? Was put out by NBC. Guys. Hold on. Oh, that's a little loud. Yeah, get to the chopper. Good to see you, Chopper. All right, let's play this real quick. Can you guys hear this? This article was put out by NBC. Were you guys able to hear that? All righty. Thank you, Sparky. Let's continue on. This article was put out by NBC, titled Arkansas Father Brad Allen Still Missing More Than 8 months After Vanishing. And this is by Bianca Hillier, put out April 2nd, 2018. When you live on the same plot of land as several members of your family, as does the Allen family in Fountain Hill, Arkansas, you tend to see them a lot. Even when the plot is 20 acres, as is the Allen family's, a knock on a door by some relative or another isn't out of the ordinary. But the knock on Angie Allen Clavett's door on the family property in June of 2017 brought news that was anything but ordinary. It was about her 38-year-old brother, Brad Allen. Brad and Angie's cousin, Jennifer Davidson, was at the door with Brad's girlfriend, Megan Cody. Brad and Megan lived with their two-year-old son in Brad's grandfather's house on the property. Brad also has two daughters from a previous relationship who live nearby. Megan told Dateline she and Brad had gotten into a fight on the night of July 17th. Then around 3 a.m. on the 18th, Brad allegedly took off on foot. He was aggravated with me when he left, but he was not that mad. He left to cool off and have some time to himself, Megan told Dateline. He told me he was going on a walk through the woods and he would be back in a few hours. Ashley County Sheriff's Office investigator Tad Huntsman told Dateline that in the missing persons report it was stated that Brad took his phone, but none of his other personal belongings. Brad's cousin Jennifer told Dateline that when Megan told her she woke up on the 18th and Brad wasn't home, she picked up Megan and her son, and together with her fiance, they all took off to search for Brad. And when we did that for the next 3 days, because you can't file a missing persons report for 72 hours, Jennifer told Dateline, we looked everywhere we could think of for him. Jennifer said they also checked with Brad's employers, friends, and even old friends. She said their grandfather knew Brad was missing because Brad and Megan lived in his house. However, they did not immediately tell the rest of Brad's family. The reason we did not go to his mom and dad or his sister or brother-in-law is because they did not have a good relationship with Brad at the time, Jennifer said. Brad's sister Angie also told Dateline that the family and Brad had a falling out about a month before he went missing. After days of searching, on July 20th, Jennifer went to her grandfather to ask his advice on what to do next. According to Jennifer, Brad had a bank card issued by his employer into which his paycheck was automatically deposited. Since he had left his wallet at home, that card was still in the house. My grandfather said Brad was going to get paid at midnight that night, Jennifer said, so we expected him to come home and get it. But on the morning of the 21st, Brad's bank card was still at home. When he didn't show back up to get his money, that was the biggest red flag, Megan told Dateline. He would have at least come back to get his money. Jennifer and Megan did one last search for Brad and spoke to neighbors once again before Jennifer says she told the rest of Brad's family that he was missing. Jennifer and Megan then reported Brad missing to the Ashley County Sheriff's Office. The investigator came out to the 20 acres and came to each house and spoke to everybody, got their statements, Jennifer told Dateline. Ashley County Sheriff Tommy Sturgeon told Dateline that police have conducted multiple searches for Brad. We have had track dogs twice and cadaver dogs twice. They haven't revealed much of anything, Sheriff Sturgeon said. Track dogs tracked him down the road for several miles and then lost his scent. Police say they have received reports of possible sightings of Brad as far away as Louisiana. But after working with the local police in those areas, authorities have determined that none of those men reported was Brad. According to a post by Ashley County Sheriff's Office on July 25th, authorities applied for search warrants for Brad's phone and conducted interviews with people that may have come in contact with Brad, including family, friends, and coworkers. When we did the search warrant, though, through the phone service provider, activity showed up until right after he left. Investigator Huntsman told Dateline, adding that the cease in activity means the phone either died or was turned off. He could not confirm the details of the phone's activity. Sheriff Sturgeon told Dateline none of the search warrants produced any significant leads, and there are no persons of interest at this time. In January, Sheriff Sturgeon told a local NBC affiliate that authorities are investigating Brad's case under an assumption that he is still alive. He told Dateline he doesn't believe foul play is involved, but continues to be searching for the worst and hoping for the best. I've been a police officer for 32 years. Unfortunately, this is one of the worst ones because we're not getting any information, Sheriff Sturgeon said. Brad's sister Angie told Dateline her brother's disappearance is taking a toll on the family. It's killing my mom. She completely went down since this happened, Angie said. It's making my dad crazy, making me crazy, making my children crazy. They pray every night for their uncle. Megan says she is trying so hard to make their son think everything is okay, while Brad's cousin Jennifer says she loses sleep every night over this and has even quit her job so she can devote all of her time to searching for him. I wake up from nightmares. It's unbelievable, Jennifer said. You'll see something on the side of the road and stop to double check if it's his shoe. It has completely taken over my life. Angie, Jennifer, and Megan all believe Brad wouldn't just walk away. Rumors are like flies, they're everywhere, and they're worthless, Brad's girlfriend Megan said. I believe something has happened to him because I don't believe he'd be gone this long otherwise. Brad had a job, a really good job in construction, Angie told Dateline. He's an awesome person. People just don't vanish. Brad Allen is described as a white male, around 5'9", and weighing 165 pounds, with brown hair and green eyes. Brad has several tattoos, a tribal tattoo around his right bicep and praying hands on his back near the right shoulder area. He was last seen wearing black shorts with a red stripe down each side, a light-colored see-through shirt, black Under Armour shoes, and a black hat. If you have any information on Brad's whereabouts, please contact the Ashley County Sheriff's Office at 870-853-2040. Alrighty, so there was the majority of your case facts in that article. We've been able to fill in some of the gaps, but we're going to try to reach out to Angie and see if she can help us. She's dealing with extreme weather over there, so if we can't get a hold of her, we're not going to bother her too much, but she is expecting our call and wanting to talk with us. So
Hey, sorry I missed your call.
nope, I don't think we're going to be able to make contact with her today, but if I get a hold of her, I'll record the call and then I'll put it up here for you guys to take a look. But right now I'm going to go ahead and drop the link for my guy Brad. Here you go, Brad. Brad is the creator of the podcast Outside of the Grid. There you go, my friend. Hit that. And he has a lot of the case information, so we're going to have a little conversation about it. Yeah, that was a good comment. I don't know who put that there, but I thought that was very strange too. Oh, Charlotte here. Surely waiting 72 hours simply wastes time. It really does. And is it wasted time if you're searching and you find out somebody was just over at a friend's house or maybe a quick runaway or something? All right, looks like we have Brad here. Welcome in, Brad. I think you're muted. Looks like we have Brad here. Welcome in, Brad. Hold on. I got some background noise, and I need to reset my call. Call back in, Brad. Can you?
Welcome in, Brad.
Yeah, give me a second, guys. Okay, we should be good to go if you want to go ahead and hit that link again. Sometimes my system glitches out when I have too many audio sources and it starts making the crackling noise. When I have too many. All right, we got you, Brad. There is some background noise, though, I hear. When I have too many. All right, we got you, Brad. There is some background noise, though, I hear.
Yeah.
Might need some headphones or something.
Yeah.
All right, we got you, Brad.
I'm going to have you on mute until you figure that out.
Yeah.
So we'll wait for Brad there. Pull up these photos again. And I'm going to go through some of these facts here. And hopefully Brad can help us clear these up. He's been covering the case a little bit longer. See if we can catch up on the chat here. Okay, so I'm going to go down the list here. So the main town or city is Fountain Hill, but the address is listed as Hamburg, Arkansas. .385 Ashley Road, 80, Hamburg, Arkansas. All right, I think we got Brad back. 85 Ashley Road, 80, Hamburg, Arkansas. Hey, Brad.
Back. 85 Ashley Road.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So I had the computer and a going, and I had to switch over to my mobile phone to make it easier to work, I think. But yeah, good morning to everybody. I'm sorry.
How you doing, Brad?
A great day. Great day. You can hear me, can't you?
Yeah, I can hear you great. You sound good.
Good. Okay.
So when you brought this case to my attention, how far had you gotten with it, and what attracted you to it? Just the fact that you were kind of sharing states, or do you have like a mutual friends or anything like that?
Well, I grew up in the same town in which Brad did. Of course, I'm a lot older than Brad. I'm like probably 10 or so years older than him. So I never really experienced him until I came back into town back in the mid 90s. Me and a buddy of mine, we were riding around one day and experienced Brad. And of course, he was, like I said, you hear it 2 or 3 different ways to encounter Brad. And we encountered Brad one day while he was like 16 or 17 years old, and he was tweaking, I would call it, and had a bad, So he was kind of volatile sometimes. But then, there's been other times I've experienced people saying Brad was different than that, and that he was a great person. Of course, I live in an area that has a lot of meth in that area over there for sure where he's at. I think I mentioned in chat that it's called the Prairie. And there's a lot of meth out there, or was up until a few years ago. Right
Manufacturing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because there's it's just pine trees, and people set up deer camps and do meth labs.
Well, I hear a lot of talk about is that what it's referred to as a deer camp?
Well, yeah, deer camp. Of course, a lot of people. This is like they have big leases, and lots of people would come together and build a camp. And honestly, a lot of people, kind of transient in life, will live in the deer camps from time to time, or they may break into it and live into it, or they may live into it in an authorized manner, like if they go through a divorce or if they're just on hard times, they'll stay in the family deer camp.
Because it's rumored that that's where he was staying, right? That's where his folks kicked him out of.
Exactly. He was. That's what I hear. That he was
Okay.
over. He was, and he moved in with his grandfather, and his grandfather is very old. He's like in his, he's probably 90 something now if he's still alive.
So, is there anything that you think I missed, or anything you want to touch on?
Well, I mean, there is to me what attracted me to this is that I didn't actually. I had just moved back into the county about this time, and now retrospectively looking back, you don't really tie a lot of things together when it's happening because you're looking at it with a microscope. But when you back things back and you can look it back at what was happening in Ashley County about that time, there are 4 missing / murders that occurred between uh, April the 16th of 2016 and 01/15/2018. So about a 2-year period there.
Same
And
type of victims?
yeah, the same type as in everybody was meth related. Yeah,
Hmm.
one of them is female. That's the one that got him caught. That's my opinion. The guy that, and this is my theory, is that the guy that got caught with Ridner, he got real sloppy. He had been, he had gotten 2 DWIs. The story goes. Now I don't know how true it is. Let me just give you the thumbnail of it. There was a drug guy here, and he got caught. He got busted out, and this Brian Russell guy was the new guy rising, and he was, he didn't take no shit. In other words, he was a mean guy. He had attitude. Probably he was just mean. He's one of those evil people that everybody talks about. You talk about all the time, and he didn't take no shit. And when he came on the scene, when he became boss, those 4 people, Lance Brantley, Chris Hooks, Brad Allen, and Shannon Ridner, all became unalive. And then whenever he went to jail, there's been no more murders in this county. Coincidence? Maybe.
Getting rid of the competition.
Yeah. And people that owe you money. If you, this guy was, he was coming up. He was rising. He wanted to be that. He wanted that, rock star, thing. Whenever you're rising in anything, it's that flow. You turn that money, women, and
Fast cash.
fast cash. Shannon Ridner did not give in to it. She did not want to have sex, so he killed her. I don't know if that's it now, but back to Brad. Brad is, it's a sad case. This guy's got children. I mean, yeah, he could, like I said, my experience with him that time, he was kind of a hothead. But hell, there's been a lot of people that can tell you the same thing about me. And then most people I know, if you only knew me on that one day, yeah, I was a dick. But there's been other days I've been a nice guy. I hate this guy. Now his mom's is passed away. His cousin, Jennifer Davidson, that was so close to him and was his advocate for a long time, sleuth. I mean, she was there for him. She got killed in a wreck in the middle of the road, like got run over by a vehicle.
Oh, she's no longer living. Now,
No,
Jennifer's the one that came with Megan, right, to go tell the rest of the family.
yes, and then they kind of split apart there because Megan started not cooperating, which
Yeah, she refused a polygraph apparently.
she did, and she quit talking.
I understand that, but
Don't blame her. Don't blame her at all. Do you?
Yeah, me neither. I wouldn't take one.
And of course,
If it was my child. Like if it was, actually I would. If I was her, I would take it. But if I wasn't directly related to any type of part of the crime, I wouldn't take a polygraph. But actually, I would. If I was directly related, I would.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe if I knew I didn't do it, So, that's another part of it. I don't know. Anyway, or didn't know about it. You don't
Mm-hmm.
know what there, man. It's like I said, it's the middle of the woods. The cops, the law enforcement rarely goes out there. And when they do, it's to file a report. I mean, nobody wants to be out there. Back in those days, it was bad. Again, I think this current guy here, he's there's been a lot more money put in law enforcement in recent years, to
Who's
help.
Sturgeon?
Yes, he's been in Ashley County for a long time. I knew him whenever I was a teenager. He was a patrol cop in CrossFit,
What
but
do you
he
know about
grew
the
up.
trailer?
The trailer that he went to,
Yeah, apparently he was there the day prior to, but the dogs tracked him there. The dog handlers say it also appeared as if he had gotten into a vehicle and traveled there.
well, the story I heard was that he went out there into the road in front of that trailer, which is the main road out there, and he walked down it toward the left in front of the trailer to the left, not that road that goes up in toward the deer camp, but the other road out there. I think it's actually Road 80 or whatever it is.
Pull it up.
Yeah. Anyway, he walked out there this Ashley Road 80. He walked down a little bit, not very far, according to that, but he wasn't moving fast and he didn't go far. There's a trailer house, and I'm not really for sure where it's at. I'm just
3
telling you,
miles away
yeah,
somewhere.
it's But now, from what I understand, he went to this road, and then he got in a vehicle, and then he was. I think they traced this scent to a little building outside of another trailer house. Is that what it was, Sleuth, or is that
It
what you
was a
read?
window. It was a window to a trailer, and apparently, when the dogs were hitting on the window, they could hear somebody inside that was in that was not the guy that owns the trailer. And they came back. They were able to get a search warrant. 2 hours later, they came back, and there was nobody there, and no sign of Brad at all. They even questioned the gentleman. Law enforcement did. Yep, looks like we lost Brad. I'm sure he'll call right back. So Brad's saying he most likely went down this major road right here, got into a vehicle. Now, according to what I read about dog handlers, they're able to determine if the person was in a vehicle potentially or on foot. Now, the dogs will indicate what they think is going on. They'll communicate that to their handlers. Now, his girlfriend that he lived with, Megan, moved out shortly after the search. And they weren't able to search for about 3 days. So right after that search, she was gone. Which makes sense, right? This isn't her family. This is Brad's family. She's living with this gentleman who may or may not have dementia. So I can understand why she'd want to leave. Here we got Brad back. Hey, Brad. Welcome back.
Hey, Sleuth.
Hey. So I'm not quite sure where we lost you.
Okay, well, if toward the road that goes horizontal across the screen, that is the road that I assumed from what I was understood what happened that he went towards. So the directly horizontal with the trailer.
Okay.
Yeah, and then back out a little bit, go up a little bit higher.
Hold on.
And you can see there is a whole community right in this area. There's been in that general area that you can see the light colored green area right there. There
Right
has
here?
right
Over here.
where the yellow is at up here, where close to where you see septic medics at,
Okay.
right there. all that light green area, actually over where Sleuth is at now and over in here, there's been a lot of those are places out there where a lot of people have died. Right around the curve from Brad, there were two guys I went to school with and an older brother. Two of them are dead. One's in jail for something he did with a child. I mean, there's just some crazy stuff out there in that area. It's just lots of drugs. Now,
Their own laws, maybe their own rules.
yes, well, yeah, there's no rules there. Yeah, that's right. They have all they have is their own rules. And if you're like you said a little bit ago, and you described it very well, people that have been awake for 2 or 3 days at a time, taking meth and drinking alcohol, that's not the same state of mind that you're in if you're sitting at your table 8 days sober eating a biscuit. I mean, it's a different experience. This is not a state of mind. And if Brad had a brand new bag, and that's what his mom says in that, he was fired up. He was running, and I heard he turned. So now you have that arrow pointing down. So you go to that road out there, turn the arrow around, and then turn left, is what I understood. Yeah. I say I can't see what you're doing yet. There you go. Yeah, go that way. That way. Yep. And then there is it's kind of loading kind of slow. There it goes. It's finally started moving for me. It's a road. It's going to be to the right down there. And I think it's I don't know if it was 3 miles, maybe it was, but the thing I was thinking, it was about a mile or so, mile and a half to the right. Yeah, that way. And it was a trailer house that had pine trees on both sides of it and a little access road going down beside of it. But from what I remember, there was they traced his scent to the little outbuilding out there beside that trailer house. And then they attempted to speak with somebody in the trailer. But man, there was all kinds of conspiracy theories about this. There was talking about the person in the trailer was hiding out. He was, wouldn't speak to the police the day they were there. So it was some crazy.
That's what the mom was trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah. It was some weird stuff. And there was I think that she was saying there was accusations of people having, like underground, places to hide. It was crazy. Lots of, stuff going on. But again, that's the house. Yeah, that's the trailer house. And from what I understand, this is an older picture, but that little camper thing, Brad has stayed in it and other places on the property at times, from what I understand.
And the deer, what'd you call it? A deer camp?
A deer camp. It's like a hunting lodge, but it's
Where's that at?
I don't. I think
Where's theirs at? Do you know where this one's at?
I don't. I think that it would be okay on that property right there where it says Islands Loop. I think it's in the bottom right hand corner. It's probably where you'd find a deer
right here, right?
Yeah, down in that area.
Well, his mother explained it as being down a really long driveway, and I think this is a really long driveway right here, and there seems to be something going on here. Yeah, so they couldn't really see what he was up to, but when they went back there, apparently he was with 2 other people, 2 men, rough looking guys.
Oh yeah.
So maybe they were up to something.
Well, yeah, you could probably assume that. That again, that whole area is and it's not really. I mean, this is a way to make money for people. I mean, these are people a lot of times that, they work in construction work, and that stuff's hit or miss. I mean, you don't work a solid all the time. You may go in and make, it's kind of feast or famine. You go in and make lots of money, but you got to drive a long ways and stay, and people go and stay and make money and come back and get in trouble. Typically, that's what happens.
Could he be wedged out here between 2 rocks Um, I mean, tell us a little bit about this terrain.
Okay, there probably won't be any rocks there unless someone dragged it from the north part of the state because this is just dirt and pine trees. Now you'll see, there will be ponds. As you can see there's ponds everywhere there, and there'd be water, little wet areas because this is just right west of the delta, but there's still a lot of water here. You can just see everywhere there's ponds and of course, I don't know. I've envisioned it. You're walking through there, and if you're walking through the woods, which I don't think happened with him, but you would. There's holes because there's stump holes that where a tree was at, and they cut over, and it just died out. No one's out there filling up holes. So there's old house places that have those old type wells that you could step in and fall in, or you could hide a body in. In fact,
Mm.
I didn't share this link because I could not find it, but there was a private investigation group that had drones and stuff that came out one time, and they found a well. And in that well, this was a year or so ago, they had dredged out some jeans and a pair of boots and showed pictures of it and said, "Is this Brad Allen? Is this Brad Allen?" But apparently it turned out not to be Brad Allen. But there was police trucks and everything there in the back of the pictures. So there's
Wow.
somebody out there.
Well,
So
they
that's a
seem to think there's foul play. I wonder if that has anything to do with it.
I mean, if you're mixed up with meth and you got a lot of it, and somebody doesn't have a lot of it, and they hadn't worked in a while, and it's you got, like you said a little bit ago, you make yourself a target. If everybody knows you got it, and if you
Hmm.
purchase a person or you purchase it from somebody that other than who you owe money to, you may piss off somebody. That goes back to the Brian Russell angle. If he's in tight with somebody and he's got some money he owes to him. Maybe he's moving. Maybe he didn't do what he was supposed to do. And then he goes and gets some from somewhere else. I mean, that'll make people mad. It's a game. It's business. It's big money in that
Hmm.
stuff. I
Telling
don't know.
somebody you're going to go get rid of a lot of their product, and then instead of getting rid of it, you decide to smoke it all up.
Do that too. That's what it could be. That that could be it. That could definitely
Well,
be
people
it.
don't just go missing, right? I mean, we can all agree on that.
Somebody did not want him to be there anymore. He made somebody mad. That's what everybody always says. Whenever somebody's not there, or somebody wound up dead, somebody wanted them dead for a reason. Why?
Yeah. And
That's
the
it.
killer's there somewhere. If he was hurt, the person who hurt him is somewhere close by, probably, or was at the time.
You could imagine. I was doing some little AI pictures images the other day, and I envisioned a Chevrolet pickup easing behind him out there on that road. Maybe he went out there to do a deal. I don't know. They eased up and they saw you had a bunch. No one around. Knock you in the head, throw you in the back of the truck, take your drugs, throw you in the bayou somewhere. I mean, the Bayou Bartholomew is just a few miles over that way right there, about 6 miles to your right. I mean, it is it's and if you're carrying a lot of drugs and someone knows it, and there's a way to get over on you, hey, you know what? He didn't protect himself. That could have been it. Could have been
Yep.
hit. It could have been the girlfriend. I don't know. That's one of the theories around here. Somebody says, he had been not nice to her, had been hitting her or what have you, and maybe she done away with him. Who knows? Who knows? She got quite. But now again, I don't blame her. If it's some stuff like that, she did have anything to do with it, and or didn't have anything to do with it, but she knows the way he lives, the people that he was involved with. I mean, she's got a kid to raise. I don't blame her for
According
keeping.
to the mother, she was messing with that stuff too. She was messing with the drugs.
Yeah.
So it bothers me that she's the last person to see him. It was payday for him, and he had a big bag of meth or whatever dope on him.
Yeah.
That could trigger an addict. You know what I mean? To them, sometimes all they want to do is get high. That's makes them all the pain go away, right? So if I'm looking at you and all I see is a big bag of dope now, and I don't even see a person, that could get pretty scary quick.
You don't want to go to sleep around someone like that, would you?
Mm-mm, I wouldn't.
Mm-mm. And of course, people change after that. From the Delphi thing, we know that people are changing. Now she gained a lot of weight after that, as I understand. So like in other words, that means got off the drugs.
Yep.
You know,
Usually, it's a sign. Well, it's a sign you're not on them.
for sure. But there's a lot of things going on with this thing. About a lot of people have insinuated that he was actually working with law enforcement and that he's in a witness protection program somewhere. You hear all, it's kind of
Well,
the same.
if that's another reason for somebody to target him, though, if he's working with law enforcement and he's still doing drugs and trying to work with these folks, maybe they thought he was snitching on them. Maybe he was.
Maybe he was. Maybe he's in a
It's a
witness.
motive.
Could be he's in a witness protection program. I don't know. We teased that idea there one time because there's so much of it out there, and right after that, it all cleared up. I don't know. Maybe he was. I don't know. I think he's probably unalive, but you know what I'm saying. There's a lot. It's unusual in a small town. This is just kind of like the Delphi thing, except for it's not little girls. This is some, like you said, a 37-year-old.
Silence.
Yeah,
Like make a problem go away kind of thing.
yeah.
I mean, how would you even begin to search this area?
Oh my lord. Well, dogs. They didn't do it immediately. Dogs are good, but you again, people underutilize
They
these
don't care
dogs.
about Brad. They're not worried about Brad, are they?
Well, just like they always, at the very beginning of Delphi, they're like, oh, they're just teenage girls out messing around. And this with Brad, it's like, oh, he's just a meth head. He's probably spending at the casino over in Greenville or something.
What happened to Brad is what was always going to happen to Brad, is what they're saying.
Like I said before,
I don't agree with that.
I can't believe it didn't happen before, is what some people said.
Yeah,
No,
I'm big on redemption. So I just feel like redemption is always right there. At any point in time, you choose it.
it's right in front. It's free will. I mean, like you can make a decision. I've done it many times. You get to a certain point, you got to make a decision, and you can make a decision that's going to lead you down that road of no freedom, or you can make a decision and suck it up and say, "Oh, made a mistake. I'm sorry," and move on, or that's not right for me, and woof, go the other way.
I just feel like somebody has more information about what happened to him. His coworkers, maybe. It just sucks that nobody's out there asking the questions. I know they asked everybody. I mean, it would be easy to interview everybody that's right here, right? Just go door to door and you're
Yep.
done. But what about other folks? I feel like they didn't do anything.
Well, again, it goes back to what you were just talking about. And people are like, yeah, there's I don't think everybody has the belief that everybody can redeem. Of course, it's all about that microscope, though. If you know somebody up close and you've been around them, and you think, well, maybe it's more peaceful. I don't know. Who knows? People have a different level of looking at it. To me, it's horrible. This is a father, man. It's and
3 kids, right? 2 girls and a boy.
I think so. I think so, and I think maybe one of them, may be kind of a dicey situation where it's, when he adopted or something like that, whatever it was. And it's one of those situations, but it's complicated, But yeah, and you could see pictures all over the place of him and those kids. You showed a picture there a little bit ago of him and his baby being born. I think it was that youngest child of his. I mean,
he was glowing.
That's a real human being. This is not some, character player in the background. This is a real dude, man. He operated right around here. He worked for me at one point in time. So did that Chris Hooks guy, this other guy on here, worked for me as well. I didn't know them, but they worked, through the company. But they are these are real people. And that the Chris Hooks is right here 6 months before him in January of that year. He went missing in the same way. And he had a Toyota pickup that was found over in an adjacent county, parked on the side of the road with his medicine and his cell phone in it. And
very, very similar. almost like he was meeting somebody.
Yeah, his man, everything was right there. He just got out of jail too. He was on like, some kind of release program, and just got out of jail like a few days before, and had just gotten married. I'm talking
Good
about within
reason
a
to
month.
snitch. It's a good reason to start snitching. You're trying to get out of the drug game and you just got married and you're trying to get your life together. All you got to do
New
is
life.
tell on one person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to see a pattern.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, and then Ridner, which was the other one here that I can know for sure. But now, when he first, if you go back and you look at this Brian Russell character, it's immensely interesting because he started getting in trouble about this time back in early 2016 because he got busted for meth back then and a DUI. Then he got busted for meth and a DUI again about the time he was murdered Shannon Ridner 2 years later. So he had like a period spree there. What I'm trying to say is that it would not surprise me at all if these four people were all murdered, including Brad Allen, were murdered by this one person.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's what it seems like.
seems like it because after that guy got locked up again, no more murders. Anyway,
Any final thoughts, Brad, before we get out of here?
just if anybody does know anything, just and of course, I want to share it around locally. And maybe somebody does. If they do, call that number. I think the sheriff's office number I know of is 2040. I think that Tad Huntsman was the investigator on the case. I think it's changed hands now. But this, out there in that part of the country, they have hidden it. Nobody's talking to the sheriff's department yet. I can assure you that, you know, how they are, man. They want to solve those cases because that's glorious. You just imagine, So if there's anybody that knows anything, call Tommy Sturgeon or Tad or any of those guys that are working on this thing. They would love to find some kind of resolution to it. And thank you for
870-853-2040.
yes, sir. That's the
That
number
sounds
that I
right.
would call.
Okay.
And I appreciate you covering this case, Lou. Thank you, man.
Thanks for bringing it to my attention. We're going to follow up on it. I'm going to give them a call tomorrow, and I think I'm going to try to talk with Sturgeon just to ask him, like, hey, is there anything we can put out there for the public? Because, I mean, somebody could have seen him walking by. They could recognize the tattoo. It could help with the timeline. So one piece of information could lead to four other pieces of information that could be helpful for investigators. So anything really, just the little things even.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Well, good office thing. Thank you for the interview, Steve.
All right. I appreciate you helping us out today.
Yes, sir.
All right. Have a great day. I'll talk to you real soon. All right, guys. We are out of time. Let's get Brad's face up here one more time. So they absolutely have no idea what happened. It is looking like something drug related or somebody not wanting Brad to talk about their business. He may have been silenced. He had a new baby. Maybe he was trying to get his life together. Thanks again, Brad, for helping out. Good recommendation on this case. Thank you for calling in and helping us out with some of these details. And anybody, if you know anything, say something, speak up. And I'll see you again tomorrow for another episode of True Crime in the Morning. I'll go ahead and give you some of those details midday today, so keep a lookout for that notification. And if you are part of the replay crew, leave a comment. Let us know what you think about today's live stream and about Brad's case. And if you are not subscribed, consider subscribing. And if you are subscribed, consider becoming a member. All right, guys, that's going to conclude today's episode of True Crime in the Morning. I will see you again very soon.